Hello, it's Alice Siba, and we're so glad that you came for another episode of Lifestyle Self-Made. This week, Yusuf Kulan, my co-host, and I talked to Ross Goldberg, who has been helping digital entrepreneurs figure out how to sell more products and services by reaching more people through creating value and helping customers feel like they made the best possible choice when they place their order. He's also an internet marketing and military veteran who overcame some serious health challenges and a personal transformation. And I really appreciated hearing that part of his story. I also appreciated the story about how he said we met in person, as I didn't recall. I've known him online for many years, but there was a meeting and apparently I gave him a little lecture or something like that, but he said it was well deserved. So you can hear that story. We also talked about dealing with algorithms, the problem with people pleasing, trial and error learning, and his military service as well. So before we get into that, just an update that next week we're going to talk to Lisa Metagriff, the founder of Metamorphize, who helps people get out of negative thinking to live a life that they enjoy. And she shared her own story of kind of food addiction and things like that she had to get over in order to create this new life. And now she's in Mexico half the year doing retreats with her clients and living the other half in Long Island, New York, another beautiful place. So tune in to her, and don't forget that to sign up for a free marketing class at ekithubuniversity.com. And if you don't have our My Lifestyle Self-Made guidebook, we highly recommend it. It's a great way to, kind of take stock of everything in your own life and figure out the priorities you have, because not everybody can have this, what looks like this amazingly successful business if it doesn't fit your lifestyle. You have to kind of match those things up. And this guidebook helps you do it. And each week we release, when we're live on the premiere, we release a supplement to that guidebook to help you think about the themes of that particular episode. We think you'll find it really helpful. And so without further ado, let's get back to Yusuf and Ross.
Well, I would like to introduce you. This is Yusuf. You've never met Yusuf. This is Ross.
We have not. It's a pleasure.
And we've never spoken face to face, I don't think.
I was a huge asshole and arrogant at the time, and we didn't get to visit. And then we became friends later when I was much less of an asshole.
Wait, what happened? I don't remember this.
I don't remember what event, but I was hitting on Lynn Terry and you didn't like it. And I was still married. I was wrong. I was a poop head. I was wrong. So
I don't
later,
remember.
we became friends like 2 or 3 years later. I'm like, I bet she doesn't remember how much of an asshole I was. I'm not going to remind her. So we've been friends ever since, and I didn't want to make it weird, so I didn't say anything. So I'm not a butthead anymore, so I figured, screw it. Let her be friends with new Ross. And we'll be friends, and we have been for all these years, and everything's fine. But like 10 years ago, I was a huge butthead.
Yeah.
And that's being kind.
I remember
I should
you
use potty
being
mouth words.
like, what temper? Like online stuff. That you would get upset. Not temper. I don't know if temper is the right word. You would get upset.
I was a rage monster. And so here's what happened. And we can go into this a little if you guys would like. 20 years ago, I went into a coma and nearly died because the Army vaccine poisoned me. What I mean by vaccine poisoned is that I got all of them 3 times in 12 months. So what that did was it poisoned me. I have no sense of touch anymore. And that's why the colitis is really bad. I have major nerve damage to my digestive system. So those 2 things, I was really angry at anything I could be angry at. So an example is someone picked a fight with Mike Filzane. I lost my mind and I tore that person to shreds bad enough that I made myself look silly. And I did stuff like that for a while until I realized I'm not hurting anybody but me. And I'm pushing away business and I'm doing silly stuff that's costing me money. So I started to kind of process those traumas and deal with that stuff. They're still very real. I have them, but I don't have to be mad about it anymore. I changed like at my core. I actually moved near Eric Stafford. Yusuf, you may not know him. He's passed on.
I do know Eric, and
but
I did talk to Yusuf about Eric not too long ago.
yeah, he was special, and there was a zen to being around him. What was that, Yusuf? I'm sorry.
Is that the gentleman that passed away recently, or
in the last couple of years?
He's been gone for a couple of years. He had a massive heart attack right at the end of COVID, and it was terrible. 2 weeks prior, he had invited me to hang out for the first time in like 18 months. When COVID hit, we both had reasons to be like careful, a little fearful over being around other people, and we live in Florida, which is basically the state of stupid. So people would be walking around hacking into their arms, and you're like, am I going to die because you just coughed? Like the reasonable people, and it was real, and I was vaccinated, but it's still scary. So for a year and a half, we barely left our houses. I would go do CrossFit and come home, and that would be it. So he asked me to hang out, and it was the one time. I don't have local friends other than like my gym. So it was the one time we had plans, and I was like, give me like 10 days. Let me do this and get through this other thing. And he passed away like 3 days after that.
Oh,
so big letdown. Very sad. So anyways, Eric was probably the highest paid graphic designer I'd ever seen. He used to get 10 grand just to lay out a sales letter, not write much of a word. He would work with $1 Million Mike Morgan, who writes for Agora now. And there was another big copywriter. Vin Montello was another one that he did a lot of work with. Yeah, he was special. He did some really interesting stuff. If you can get your hands on like his book, what was it? The Money Brand. I have it. Yeah, he was special.
Got it.
I apologize. We're going off on every tangent imaginable. I would like to actually work and do what you want me to do here.
You know what? These are all, everything you just said it is game for the interview. And I don't know if any of that was private or it's already being recorded. We could just keep going.
No, ma'am.
I think.
Okay.
You want to just keep going?
Why don't you leave me a little bit, because I will bounce off the walls and we'll talk about all the things and probably cover very little of what you actually want.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's all good. We just want to get to know you. We want to, know a little bit more about your entrepreneurial lifestyle.
Yeah, and the goal of the podcast really is to just share stories of people. Like, everyone's an entrepreneur for a different reason, and the life that we want to create for ourselves, and everybody's doing something different. And it sounds like, you've been able to overcome a lot of things and have grown through the process and stuff. And that's the kind of stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
You're one of the few people, Alice, who has seen me at my best and seen me at my worst. I think you might have chosen not to pay any attention to the poopy things that I did 15 years ago, and I appreciate that.
I don't think you must. I don't think you've been that bad. I mean,
oh, Yusuf, if you want to see when I was at my worst, I will give you the ammunition to find my horrifying misbehaviors. Go to the Warrior Forum and look at old stuff.
Okay, Warrior Form.
Yeah, I threatened to show up on a kid who lived in the UK. I was like, I am not the one. You think that you can be a keyboard warrior here? I will show up on your front porch. That's the level of rage monster I had going on way back then. So, and I'm not the one. I am absolutely still that man. I just would rather just walk away and not go to jail. So anyway. The 45-year-old version of Ross is not the 25-year-old version of Ross. I've learned that violence is usually not the answer. And I'm so you can't really see it. I'm bigger than you remember, Alice. I have muscles popping out all over the place. The problem is my mom lives with me and bakes, and I don't have the heart to break her heart. So I still have a big old bubble of chunk in the front. I am crazy strong. Like, I'm so proud of what I've done, because as I'm sure I know you're going to make me tell the story of the beginning. And I nearly died at the very beginning of my business and made my first $1,000 profit from a coma. So I'm pretty sure you're going to make me tell that story.
Wow.
But,
well, we do need to hear that.
Yes.
We want to hear about the struggle and how you overcame those struggles too. So definitely we have questions that will address those.
Do we have 3 or 4 days? Is that what?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I found fitness. My wife, my current wife, who is my second wife, was going, and I'm just seeing her get fitter and fitter and fitter. And I actually went to a competition there to kind of have her back or whatever. And I'm looking around, and these are like Greek gods. This is CrossFit, so it's very, very high level fitness stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I better do something as I'm sitting around and eating potato chips at a computer all day long. I started going to the gym with Eric, but realized very quickly I needed more. So I tried CrossFit, and I showed up, and there was a guy next to me lifting like 350 pounds. I had two 10-pound dumbbells. Being fat, looking at all these Greek god-looking people around me and questioning, I shouldn't be here. I don't fit with these people. This is not good. So I actually paid $150 a month for 6 months and refused to go. I was so embarrassed of what I let myself become.
Yeah.
One day I went and asked really dumb questions of one of the coaches at like an open gym. And I have gone 5 or 6 times a week, other than when I had like surgeries and stuff like that where I couldn't. But even when I had like an invasive surgery, I was still back in the gym 2 weeks later. I don't even understand how I existed without it. So now I have to tell the story of the beginning, which was very, very, very different. So I mentioned earlier, and I'll repeat it in case you don't end up using that clip, that I was vaccine poisoned by the Army. I was a reservist. And this was during Desert Storm Iraq version 2. So my unit was an ammunition unit, which meant when war happens, we go. It's simply, we are rotated with the, it's not normal reserves where, oh, if you're needed, you may have to go to war. My unit knew, and we were taught from like the day we got there after training, if there's war, it's not if, it's when. We are so necessary as an ammo unit that they need us. Mm-hmm. So we knew this. So the war comes. Oh, did I hate President Bush II? But let's not go into politics because we'll end up talking about that angrily for the next however long.
Yeah.
However, I'm pretty sure the three.
We're not ready to alienate everybody yet.
We'll get there, right? I'll come back. We really want to piss people off. Just invite me back. That's easy. So to prepare to go to war, one of the other units had gone first. So we go up to, I was in Wisconsin at the time, and we went up to Minneapolis, which was where our battalion was. So I'm in this massive building. It was full blown like active duty again. And I was a reservist, so this was almost jarring, right? And they go through this process where they look at all your stuff and get you ready to go to war. Well, my medical records were missing because I basically destroyed my ankles in training. I was the kid who walked the mile in high school with a cigarette hidden in my hand with the gym teacher screaming behind me. So I go and no medical record. And they're like, oh, we have to vaccinate you. I said, well, I came out of basic training just like everyone else here. You see I had, you can only get out of training as an E3 and you can graduate to an E4. That's the military ranking system. I was a 4. I said, I couldn't even have this rank if I didn't go through that. She's like, sir, if I don't have the paper, I have to do this.
Oh, that you had already been vaccinated, you mean? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because going through basic training,
you've seen a lot of stuff, right?
Basic training was an experience. And again, we need 3 to 4 days if you really want me to run it down. It was bad enough in the first couple of days. I tried to fake being gay so they would send me home, if that gives you any idea. Me and a couple of buddies. And of course, we ended up in the same group and went through all of basic training together, which actually turned out quite well. Once I got into it, I was fine. But the fear and people screaming in your face and spitting all over you, no one wants that. So we tried really hard, and they kind of laughed us out of the room. They're like, no, you don't like dick. You can go. So excuse my potty mouth. So anyways, I basically told her no. And she said, either you can give me your arm or we're sending you straight to Fort Leavenworth military prison from here. I said, okay. I said, all right, go ahead. And I had a baby at home, and I think we might have been pregnant with baby 2. Pretty sure. So I couldn't risk that. I said, go ahead. So I get this new fresh medical record. I give it to my boss, who is like the head sergeant in charge of all of us soldiers. 6 months later, we go back. Guess what got misplaced? My new medical record.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
So I had the exact same conversation with this woman, and she said, either you give me your arm or I send you to Fort Leavenworth military prison from here. So I gave her my arm, begrudgingly again, And then the next time, not only did I come back with that shot record, I had the one from 6 months prior to that one, and I had my original one from basic training and job training and all of that. I walked in with 3 different shot records that all 3 showed that I had gotten the full set of military vaccinations. And I sat down across from this woman. She said, "You're due for a booster." And I turned to her, "Excuse me." I said, "Bitch, you're fucking crazy." Yeah. She didn't like that very much. She said, "Sir, either you're going to give me your arm or I'm sending you're going straight to Fort Leavenworth from here." So I begrudgingly gave up my arm. And from that room, I went and sat with my battalion commander. This is Lieutenant Colonel. This was not because I had a potty mouth and wasn't nice. Everyone did this. And he looks over my stuff and he says, "Oh, you're on morphine." The vaccines were already wreaking havoc. So I was on morphine for pain, a very low dose. And interestingly enough, we found out later that I'm allergic to morphine. So I was a complete psychopath while on this medication. My mood would go from to totally hulked out, ready to put my head through a wall or something. So anyway, he turned to me and said, "You're on morphine." "Well, we can't send you to Iraq. We can't guarantee we're going to have that medication for you." Point, none of it was necessary. I didn't need any of it. And medically, what they did was malpractice. So if you go to the CDC for vaccine recommendations, the ones that you get as kids are basically what you get in the military, with a couple of others like polio and a couple of things that you could be exposed to if you go to a third world country or whatever else. If you are getting deployed, then it gets real interesting, because you can get things like the anthrax vaccine that made one of the lieutenants in my company blind for 6 months. Wow. We're talking, this is real stuff. This is no joke. So just getting them can cause problems, but I only got the little basic ones. The problem was I got so many in such a short period of time.
A period of time, yeah.
Yeah, so what they believe happened was that the MMR vaccine, that's the one that I got all 3 times. In certain circumstances, you can get measles-related encephalitis from the vaccination. It's been in, let's say 50 cases ever. But with my situation, because it was such an overwhelming amount of it, they said that's probably what happened, because it wasn't traceable to measles. Under normal circumstances, measles-based encephalitis is visible. It would be the word that I would use. They could see it through tests. With me, they had no idea. They tested for everything. So I was in a coma for 10 days. I woke up. Wow. I had just set up my business 2 weeks prior, while I'm basically a lunatic. And I woke up one morning, I couldn't pee, went to the emergency room, they handled it. Day 2, couldn't pee, same thing. Day 3, I started hallucinating. What happened was my brain and spine swelled up. So in doing so, it caused all this nerve damage. I barely feel my feet. I have really bad balance. And I do CrossFit. How ridiculous is that? So I came home in a wheelchair. About a month after I went in, they kept me for a couple of weeks so they could at least get me to where I was starting to walk. Went through really intense physical therapy. I went home in a wheelchair, and my office was like a 3 square foot, like the foyer in an apartment building. Kind of like a condo, but not really, to give you a visual. And I did nothing but eat, sleep, and breathe my business. I was selling sleep stuff on eBay. I was competing with my suppliers and destroying them.
Yeah.
I was selling more of their stuff than they were.
Search engine stuff, I guess?
Actually, not yet. I got to that. So this was all eBay, and I messed them up. Like it took like 90 days for them to figure out I was onto something, and they were like, "What are you doing that we're not?" So I sent them my stuff. They said, "How is your ad so much nicer than ours?" I was like, "Well, I just stole it from you and everybody else." I took all the stuff and I like deconstructed the stuff, and then I reconstructed the stuff, and I was very careful. I didn't want to get tossed in jail or something for lying, but someone was local and asked, can we have it shipped to you and not pay the shipping, because they didn't understand I was drop shipping stuff. So we had it shipped to our house, and this mattress had a cover that looked like it was from a chair you would put on your patio, and not a good one. We're talking Walmart level cushions here. I was like, I can't believe I'm selling this.
Oh dear.
And we completely restructured what we sold, I found better suppliers, mostly from China. And I built a website by hand. I got it to rank for memory foam mattress, which was the worst experience of my life. I actually paid for memory foam mattress, which was $400 gone in like 2 hours without one sale. And as time went on, I figured out how to do longer tail targeting on ads. Right. And I was getting some calls that were garbage. They thought I was the supplier, like the manufacturer of an adjustable bed product. But I would also get my biggest sale from those. So I would pay $20 because no one was bidding on this but me. Maybe the manufacturer themselves. But I had a toll-free number in my ad, and it made me so much money. And I paid next to nothing. I was paying like $12 a week because very few people were looking for this, but the people looking for it were the buyers. And that's how I learned SEO and became a big SEO guy, which oddly enough, now I can't stand. Maybe that should be part of our conversation. I have no interest in SEO whatsoever, but
yeah,
in the early days.
Since you're not interested in SEO right now, what took over? What's the other thing?
So that's actually a really interesting story. It's funny you should ask that. So Google, when I was selling one of my, I actually spent a fair amount of time running a software company, and it made me just a ton of money because the tools were, I made tools that were in the middle. So when it comes to SEO tools, what people really want is to push a button and leave. I made ones that people, let's say like Alice and I, would use that were semi-automated. So they would leave you the control to not look like a complete dummy, but save you a ton of time. So I built a spinning engine that was human powered. What I mean by that is, let's say you wanted an article that you wanted to put into a bunch of places and not have it look like the same article. You could put in 5 different headlines and it would rotate them automatically. And if you didn't like, you could use spin code. So if it came up weird, you could just click a button and it would put in a new one. And it made the submission process go really fast, but still give you enough control so you knew it didn't come out as gobbledygook. Because the really automated tools were messy.
Yeah.
That could happen. And they could make you, if you're an author, you can't have that. You can't leave a trail that makes you look dumb or no one's going to believe in you. So for people like me, which I didn't realize was a lot of people, they wanted that sort of thing. Semi-automated, you still have control, but it drastically speeds it up. And it still gave you the ability to kind of be everywhere at the time. And the problem was the programmer got greedy. But we did software for other companies. For a little while, we worked with Ryan Dice's company. We did some big stuff. Eric was a partner of mine for a little while. So we had a ball. And we made a lot of money. And it was a lot of fun. But eventually, things got sour. My programmer got greedy, to be honest. He's a lovely human being. We don't communicate anymore. But he got greedy. And he wanted half when I still had to do 80% of the work. Didn't really work out. So walked away from that. So I was going to sell one of the brands. And we were on page 1 for SEO software. And I'm sure you both can understand how ridiculously competitive that was. Even then, this was 2010, 2011. I can't remember exactly when, but we could find out if we really wanted, because Google decided they were going to completely change how they ranked websites.
Yeah.
Right before my sale closed. 6-figure sale, $100,000 deal. Immediately gone. I went from page 1 to page none. I went 11, 12, 13 pages deep and couldn't find us at all. All the link building I'd done, all the work I had done to get to that ridiculous level. And I mean, let's be real, SEO software is probably, outside of like sex, incredibly competitive. Let's say top 50 on the internet total.
Right.
So
yes.
Just destroyed the deal. I had just done a major training program, my big 2K training. I had like 30 customers. I had to completely redo all of it, help them all bounce back from the kind of link building that me and people like me did, because it didn't work. They had clients. It was the worst case scenario. Because I'm an honorable dude, I worked with every single customer. I think I had 1 or 2 out of 30 refund, but most stuck. I ended up doing a workshop for them. I did everything I could to make sure they were happy. In fact, I still talk to, many of them are still customers. But it was like the worst thing that could possibly happen. It was just absolutely terrible. And I vowed at that moment that I am never fighting Goliath for business or in business. Never again. I will never look for a backdoor, a loophole, any of that. I have no interest in any way, shape, or form. And I went from being an SEO guy to a bit of a traffic guy. And I became a best-selling author. I put out my traffic manifesto, which was a really big product back in the day. I made a couple of versions. I turned it into a book. And now I'm kind of a full stack guy. I'm about to release a copywriting program for non-copywriters, copy for non-copywriters, called Overnight Copy Formula. So, and it's nothing like anything anyone's ever done before. I have copywriting training courses, and they're lovely, but they teach you how to be a copywriter. And I wanted to do something for people like me that have no interest. I don't want to handwrite a bunch of sales letters. I won't get pitchy, I promise. I'm really excited because I'm doing something completely different and very cool, and I'm having a ball. So anyway.
That's an important thing, right? Loving what you're doing, and like having that. Yeah, I agree. Like I decided not to be a slave to Google or anybody or Facebook or any of those algorithms. Algorithms, no thank you. Like you have to build your audience, and you have to, you have to build those assets regardless of whatever they're doing. If we're relying on them, it's one day it's there and the next day all gone.
Yes and no. I don't mind catering to algorithms because I'm a scientist at heart.
Well, of course,
So I don't mind feeding them. Yes. I will never, ever try to subvert them, take advantage. Facebook has the new thing. It was pages, and then they completely took that away. And every page owner on Facebook just threw a fit. Facebook doesn't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
100%. They just don't.
They care about what they need to care about.
For a while, groups were the thing. They were advertising it on television and like football games and stuff. It was a big deal. And then all of a sudden they took all the groups reach away.
Yeah.
To get group posts, you have to really interact with a group now. Mm-hmm. I have my mastermind is mostly based, not that I run, that I'm a part of, is mostly based on Facebook. And I have it set to tell me whenever there's stuff that I want to see there, and that's fine. But if you don't interact with a group, it goes away. Like it doesn't stick around. Now,
and even if you interact with them, it's not the same as it was before.
It's not. Nope. Now I'm seeing pages in my feed all the time again.
Oh.
Full circle. So my point is, if you just do good stuff, do cool things, be helpful, I think it's good enough.
Yeah. I because I'm consistent with Facebook pages. I forgot about them, but I like Facebook groups. I like them not because I can reach people, obviously that's good, but it's because I like it, because I enjoy it. I am getting something out of it by interacting. I'm learning from my audience and all that stuff that I don't like. It just means I keep doing it regardless. There is a benefit to me. But if I was just doing it to try to get more reach and stuff, that would just be hitting my head on the wall.
I did it recently, and it was an utter failure. I can still be, so I forget that I feel I'm being funny. Sometimes I'm being scary, and I don't mean to. And people that know me know that I'm a huge teddy bear. I'm not going to be mean to you if you ask me for help with something that I'm good at. I'm just going to come help you. Not like pay me, then I'll help you, but like that's my nature. The people that really know me know that. But average internet does not know me like that. So even today, I found something I was thinking that crossed my mind. I put it up and I'm like, wow, do I sound like a jerk? Thankfully, 100 whopping people saw it and probably ignored it. I delete it and then it's gone forever. But that's how I test on Facebook. But generally, so it's funny. I've got a professional profile and I pay the $15 or whatever it is a month to get extended reach. I don't think it really extends my reach very much.
No.
But
Probably I found on Twitter, because I paid for that because I like to write longer. The only place the reach is better is when I'm commenting on other people's stuff, because
I
they
see
want to
almost every
build the
comment you leave.
engagement on those popular
Right.
posts. They don't give a crap about my posts.
Yeah, for me, the check
Absolutely.
mark. Yeah, for me, the blue check mark is a more of a like a. It used to be more of an authority thing. If you had it, it meant like you.
Yeah.
But now since Twitter, or X changed some of the things, it feels like everyone is getting that blue check. And
Yeah, I haven't looked
lost
into
a
it on
little bit of-
Facebook. I don't care enough.
I leave it on Facebook because I think it identifies me as someone who sells stuff, and I'm all right with that.
Absolutely.
That doesn't bother me. So that's the
actually,
only. And
yeah,
go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's a little bit tough when we talk like that. But I actually agree. When it comes to Facebook, it does actually add a little bit more of authority. It does mean that you're actually selling something. Twitter, people that have 2 followers have it, right? Facebook, it's a little bit different. So I do get that.
Well, and so Twitter is the land of trolls.
I'll never change the name.
Yeah.
Is Twitter. You are tweeting, and Elon can hate that all day, and maybe. So I don't know if you guys are aware. This will be interesting to watch. He wants it to be what the big everything websites are in China. That's his vision for the United States. I don't know if he can do that because this isn't China, and that's the problem. I don't know if you guys have studied it at all. I've studied it lightly. You may know more than I do. I'm not. This is not me coming in as an authority on it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I actually read that he's trying to kind of replicate WeChat, right? So it's like a WhatsApp kind of group in China that became right now a payment app. They can literally do anything, including like getting a taxi or Uber or whatnot. So everything is in one app. And what you said is actually quite reasonable. You can probably do it in China, and right now they're cracking down on it so that people don't get too powerful. In the US and in Europe, it's gonna be a little bit hard because they're already trying to break Facebook apart, try to break Alphabet and all the other.
You're totally right, 1,000,000% right. But here's the kicker: go to TikTok. If you play on TikTok, which most of us do now, in 5 videos, usually 3 are ad, pitch, and then there's 2 of what I actually want, which is the entertainment stuff. Affiliate marketing on TikTok is making the app dirty, and if it continues, it's going to push the people like us away. Because I don't know about you guys, I don't mind advertising, but if it's all I'm getting from you, then I'm nothing more than a product, and you don't value me. Eventually, I'm going to spend my time somewhere else.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's not because, oh no, I'm a marketer, someone tried to sell me something. I used to be that way. Jason Moffat lovingly sent me a private message. He said, bro, you're making yourself look like an idiot. Can you stop? Those posts just make you look dumb. You're not dumb. Just stop that. It's okay if it irritates you. Just don't tell everybody. It bothers all of us, but when you say it out loud, you look really silly, bro. Damn it. Why didn't I notice that? So I stopped doing it publicly, but I don't mind being sold, and I don't mind being marketed to. I mind spammers and people that do the stuff that doesn't work. But
yeah,
I get 5 different messages every day. Have you ever heard of Bitcoin? No, stupid. I don't pay attention. What? Why, dude? This doesn't work. I don't know you. I'm not giving you $20,000 to buy things for me or whatever else I had one ask me for 6 figures. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't know you. You're not special.
Yeah. Some people are out of this world, like in any other like investment industry, because crypto is unregulated. You can manage, funds and whatnot, right? Like if you wanted to invest in stocks or do anything else with it, in order to manage money, it has to be high net worth individuals or family members. So it's like a lot of scammers have actually used like the Bitcoin and crypto to kind of like their own advantage.
Totally. And being who we are as marketers, I had a guy who's making people so much money with a mining server. This was like, we're talking server. We're talking a server beyond a server. This is a $35,000. They were hitting a return in like a couple of months. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the details, and I'm not mentioning who I'm talking about. I want to tell the story and discuss the story. They were making so much money for people, they couldn't tell them how much they were making because no one believed them.
Yeah.
We're talking, this was like nuclear powered server was kind of what I was trying to get to explain. Like next level stuff. And anyone that gave them money was making so much that they were in shock. But when they were trying to sell it, they couldn't tell the truth. That's how much there was. And there is stuff like that, like moonshot coins and things like that. And people who can like see, I still don't get how they find it, but people who can identify those, because I don't trust anybody, including some of the people I used to know, because when they went crypto, bro, they scared the hell out of me. And I don't want to give them money and then lose out. It's a trust thing for me. It's not, there are a couple that I trust enough where I'd consider, but the truth is I'm busy. I'm writing, I'm creating training, I'm coming up with new ideas and building my business. What I haven't really mentioned is that I spent like 10 years hanging out in the darkness after that Google slap. I was working with clients, and the truth was, instead of trying to look for the strong to make them stronger, I was getting all the people that were dying. Like they got robbed by an ad agency, or, you know, they didn't have a single sales letter that converted. So I ended up writing 5 sales letters in 5 weeks or something like that. Like we're talking the bottom of the barrel. And I did that for 10 years, and I ended up making myself so sick that 2 years of bleeding and misery with colitis was because my clients were miserable. And it made me so sick that I'm like, I don't want this anymore. Why did I do this to myself? So I finally stepped into it, and I'm like, why would I not be helping the people that need me? And I also learned that I can't help everybody. And I also learned that I can be selective with who I work with.
100%.
And everything changed. The last like 9 months for me have been revelatory in so many ways. So many. And another new thing I learned is that I don't have to share everything I learn with the world.
No.
It can be for me, or me in my smaller circles with my close friends, or I don't have to teach everything that I learn, which is kind of how my business was in the early days. So now I get to be a big boy, all grown up, and do the things I actually enjoy. And I don't know that I've ever been happier in business, as we talked about in the beginning. I'm just having a ball.
Yeah, that's good. And I mean, yeah, like that is a struggle, right? It sounds like you're a giver, and that sometimes you may give to your own detriment, but you can always, just being you and what you'll end up doing, because you do care about people, will give to people in different ways that you don't even realize that, yeah, you don't have to do all that. You still make an impact, and you probably make a bigger impact because you're not impeding your health.
Yes. And paying attention to my own needs and realizing that I have value and that I need to take care of me, because, I mean, there's a reason they have you put the gas mask on yourself first on an airplane, even when you're with children, because if you can't breathe, everyone in your crew dies.
100%.
How real is that? From a business perspective, they don't die. They just go hungry or have to live in a cardboard box with me. That is horrifying. But being a businessman, and this was it. For 20 years, I wasn't a businessman. I was a hobbyist who made really good money. Now I am a businessman, and I am building a business, and I am targeting my people, and I am building an audience. I'm at the very beginning. In fact, I'm learning Go High Level right now. Someone shoot me, please. Rebuilding all my infrastructure. My email list has a whopping 6 people, and it's on the wrong platform. I have to move them over.
Get to that.
I haven't sent, I still, outside of thank you for buying my stuff. That's all that's even been sent to those lovely people. I haven't told them about the new product. So being in this place, I get to build it exactly the way I want. And I can do exactly what I want to do. And now my skills, I'm getting to use most of them in a way that I'm actually enjoying. And it's been pretty incredible. 20 years in, you would think I learned some of this stuff by now, but every day I'm realizing different stuff and placing a higher value on my sanity. And I've had 2 different things that kind of came along. We're like, we could make it big. Yeah, we tried that a different time and it didn't work. So I'm going to go back to where over here, I'm going to go back over here by myself. Thank you. No, I'm not giving, it's not worth it. I'm sorry. I love you. Bye.
Agreed. I mean, you have a lovely home, you have a lovely wife, you have children, like you have so many blessings in your work, in your life. So, and I love the
But
color of your wall.
so here's a fun story. We are renters. I've been here for like 8 years. Our landlord, I live by the rule, don't shit where you eat. I hope potty talk is okay. It's my nature. I curse
Already
a lot.
on.
I've avoided the F-bomb, so I've tried really hard.
No, you said it.
I did. Oh, did I? Shit. Anyway, I live by don't shit where you eat. So especially being an entrepreneur, in the early years, it was feast or famine. I had 6-figure months, and then I had $2,000 months where I would have a failed launch or something, and that was it. Where I'd make a little money off my email list, and that was all there was. And that's like food money. That's about all that was. So I learned to build relationships with anybody that has access to my health, my money, or my food. And actually, that goes back to when I was 15, I was in love with a waitress that my grandfather made cry so hard, I thought she was going to die. It's a really long, it's much longer, and I don't want to do that. But I was so scarred by that I won't send back food unless it's horrifying. Like it's not what I ordered at all. Nothing like something I can't eat for one reason or another, whatever. I won't send it back. I'll suffer through the food. My wife gets mad at me, and I'm like, I like it here. I want to come back here. So like I check out at the grocery store, my wife is blushing because I'm being playful with the grocery ladies and having fun with them. There was a period, this is 6 or 7 years ago, in the first year or two here, where I went like 3 months and couldn't pay my bills. And my landlord was like, we're getting really scared that we might have to evict you. Can you come up with this kind of money? I said, to be honest, that's actually not even that much. And I had it for them like 4 days later, but it was just a period of drought in my business. I lost a big client or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was no money for a little while. And now that I'm rebuilding, I am solving that problem in every imaginable way. My answer is to be on the big marketplaces. And from a marketing perspective, this is probably the smartest thing I could tell, teach, share. There are marketplaces on the internet. And when I used them, I made a boatload of money. And I didn't have a lot of stress. And I actually, of course, realized that as I'm I wouldn't say that I'm rebuilding. I mean, I have an audience on social media and I've sold stuff and I make money and that's fine. But my infrastructure is just zero. I'm rebuilding it. The best thing you can do is be where they sell stuff that leads to what you do. So if you run a service, you can teach people pieces of the service on Udemy, for example, or you can write a book and have it on Amazon. And there are ways within their rules. I will not say to break Udemy's rules because they have very strict ones about pulling people out of their system. But telling people to connect with you on Facebook or join a free Facebook group as a bonus or something. Again, that's one I'm still working on and making sure I don't break. But Amazon does not care if you put
a
URL on the cover of your book.
Does that. That's very restrictive.
It is very restrictive. And this is a much longer story, but I built a funnel for someone that guided people into a phone call off of Udemy to sell their back end product. And they were so dumb that they only tested it to a tiny group instead of just running it. He had like 250,000 customers on Udemy. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Anyways, every website like that has that sort of thing, you can use as a lead generator from people that are looking to learn. So anytime you can find a marketplace where it's a learning thing, this is like anti-SEO because they have an internal search. In fact, any website that lets you put up content, even minimal ones that are not super popular, SlideShare ranks really well in Google. So putting a great piece of content that you know is performed really well, and I would not put up like everything up there, but throw 3 of your best performing pieces of content up there as a slideshow with the call to action at the end. Why wouldn't you do that? Or even better, if you have VAs,
Yeah.
why wouldn't, I mean, it'll take them 20 minutes to do 3 of them. Take this content, turn it into a slideshow, upload it here. Udemy, a book, that kind of stuff, that's a little more involved, obviously.
Yes.
But those are my best customers read my book and found me from it, or bought one of my training programs. I had I managed $1.5 million in Facebook ads for this company. I was their only source of leads for a year and a half. This was an 8-figure company in finance. Mm-hmm. They bought one of my $100 traffic trainings, and they were like, "Oh, we need your help."
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, and that's a really good lesson right there too, that like people who I mean, if you want to do services, right, that
sure.
Totally like lends itself to there, because there are people who want to do it themselves. There are people who want you to do it for them. There's different levels, and you know, if you can help people with that, especially I think for people who are starting out online too, right, that is, you know, services. I started offering services. That was the way to get a steady income. So
absolutely,
totally, yeah.
And I also agree that one of the best ways to actually like launch something is to use a marketplace. Marketplaces tend to already have, you know, a set of people that come there on regular basis, and then your competition or your goal is just to basically get your product seen by other people. And there are a few tricks and that you can.
Of course. Well, and if you can write a decent piece within their limitations, of course, every single one is a little different. But if you can write a better set of copy than the guy who is competing with you, you will run them over.
Yeah.
And then if your product is actually good, that's how you win, because people will come back, give you positive reviews. Another very long story. I had one person cost me all my book sales. Must not have read the book. The book was a little different. We'll call it the Encyclopedia of Traffic, but this was in 2009. So long time ago, the rules were very different. The guy, he basically said my book was edited badly. I spoke bad English, and another just scathing insult that cut my book sales to 0.
Interesting.
So that's life on the internet, though. Someone you know what? Maybe it was someone that I was mean to 3 years prior.
Who knows? It wasn't me. I didn't do it on anyone's behalf. Not that you were ever mean to me, or I don't know if you were mean to me.
I was I was never mean to women that I can remember. I've always been a sucker for females. Always been a better friend to women than to men. I have male friends, lots of them, but always my 2 best friends growing up, like in high school, were girls.
Yeah.
Interesting. Has your business allowed you to pursue any other goals in life? Anything exciting?
I don't know about allowed. I've done some traveling. I've done some speaking. There's video of me performing the Humpty Dance on YouTube.
That's a noble pursuit.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. I had fun. What it's done is helped me realize that I can do whatever I want, and that's pretty cool. So when I decided to start doing CrossFit, again, it's pretty close to 4 years, or at 4 years. It's been a while. I was able to understand, I went into that sort of thing as thinking I'm a cripple, and I am to a certain degree. I'm messed up. My body does not work. I went in there. I was honest about it, obviously, and they had to help me. And there was 1 or 2 times where I fell down and had to wait to get up. But now, I mean, I'm in there helping new people kind of get used to the flow of everything and do that kind of stuff. I do that at 5:30 every morning.
Oh, wow.
Because I can. Not every, let's say 5 days out of 7, I go to the gym. It's like air to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do that, and now I feel like there's not much I can't do.
Nice.
And again, the realization that I get to pick, I get to pick and choose. I can tell people no. And I am a people pleaser. I have been for a majority of my life. Doing that is really liberating. The ability to say no, it may be the answer to the question that you actually asked.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
My ability to say no, and I'm still getting good at it. I'm bad at it. I love helping. But I see some people that keep falling into the same pit and don't know how to get out. And I realized it's not my job. It's not my place. I mean, if you're my people, my children, my mother, my wife, of course. You're my friend for 15 years. If you message me and say, hey, I need a hand with something, depending on what that is, absolutely. But if you keep falling in, like you find a pit and you jump in head first, all you see is their feet kind of way. No, I love you. I wish you well. I'm out.
No, yeah.
I got to protect myself from that sort of thing. And it's a really interesting thing because I never thought about me. It was always about, I love helping. That's great. And if there was a financial side to it, that of course, I'm in. And then there was a period of time where I went all in with no money. Like, okay, I will build this with you, but I want my cut. And then I never got it in two different circumstances. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm good enough that I don't need to take on all the risk. And eventually came to a place where, sadly, I don't need to be a savior. Now, I can do that with my lower end things, and that's okay. If you want to buy a book, that's totally cool. I will write books for those people. I will not invite them into my expensive things because if you are strong, I can make you stronger. And that's where my higher end of my business is, and that's where it's going to be. And having that decision and that ability to say, I'm not just taking the money because it's there and I need it.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
That's it. That's what I want. That's what I want my life to be. That's what I want to be able to do. And that's what I'm doing now. And it's wonderful.
That's awesome. Did your friends and family think you were crazy when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
I was a psycho.
So they were
Alice
right.
remembers. Initially, they were like, is that a thing? You're not going to pull this off. But I've always done the stuff that you told me I couldn't. If you told me I couldn't, I then did it because you told me I couldn't do that. So I had some non-supportive family. And then I became a best-selling author. And then I filled seminar rooms with 100 people in Madison, Wisconsin. And then I ended up working with the largest internet marketing training company in the world. Wrote them a sales letter that made millions of dollars. Every time they tell me I can't, I do it just to spite them.
That's a good answer.
And it's been my nature to be that way.
But sometimes you say no to that challenge now, I hope. Not every time.
I'm a sucker for someone telling me I can't. But I haven't had someone tell me I can't with something I didn't want to in quite some time. I have some massive failures. We didn't talk about a lot of those. We're talking next level, months of effort that ended up being a goose egg. We're talking $0 or $23 per person, and there were 5 of us or something. I don't ever want any of that again. That kind of challenge, I am smart enough to say no thank you. I am also good enough. My value is, I understand my value now. If you do not, that is not a me problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So knowing that now, if someone doesn't value me, doesn't value my voice, doesn't value my abilities, doesn't value my help, that's okay. I can walk away from that circumstance with a smile, not angry, not threatening, not you're a dumbass. I don't have to say any of that. I can just step away because I'm 45 years old and I don't need to go to jail. I don't look good in orange.
Indeed. So maybe, sorry.
It's okay. I'm good.
But yeah, I think maybe before we wrap up, since you gave us so much great stuff and so many things to think about and good life lessons that I think will relate to a lot of people. So you've kind of maybe given us a little bit, but like what would you have done? Like obviously you've learned a lot through it.
Oh
What
my
would
God,
you have done differently?
everything.
Everything.
I'll give some examples to quantify. In the beginning, I had zero guidance, which means I did all the dumb shit I could. I did everything by myself, but in doing so, I gained all the skills that became the groundwork of what I can do now. So my system for writing copy that's nothing like anybody else's is because I built that when I was selling memory foam mattresses, and I did it the first day. Obviously, it's refined 20 years later, but the core is exactly the same because I didn't know I could go somewhere and that there was an HTML app I could use to build it. I hand coded those pages like a moron. And it was that kind of stuff that gave me the skills to build onto the next thing. And now I'm using AI and video to create Facebook ads that are nothing like any competitor in any market I enter. Mine are so eye-grabbing, I destroy them. I set benchmarks in the markets that I play in on Facebook for advertising. They come to me and they're like, you destroyed our best by like $3 a lead or by $10 a sale or whatever. Like the best we're aware of in an example is the client that I mentioned. I managed at 1.5 million of their money. They could not break $20 per lead, no matter who they worked with. I had it down to $6 in a week.
Wow.
And I kept it under 10 for a year and a half. My abilities are unique because I did everything upside down, backwards. And what many experts would have said, I did that wrong. And that's how I'm so weirdly capable of things. I can't be a traffic guy and a copy guy, but I am. Here we are.
Yeah.
Those two things, you never see that. They are oil and water, and I'm both. And I smile over that because if I hadn't done that dumb shit 20 years ago, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be where I am with the weird but amazing skill set that I've got. That doesn't mean I want to run Facebook ads every day, all day long. But man, am I capable when I give that a run. Very rarely do I have a lot of failed ads. Pretty often I nail it out of the park. So that kind of win is great. It makes me happy. But now I don't just do that for everybody because I had a client who had the smallest market of anyone I've ever worked with, roughly like 80,000 potential customers. And I told them, I said, Facebook is not where you should be. If they're having the problems that you solve, Google is where you want to be. And your cost should be next to nothing because there's only like 4 companies that even do what you do because this market is this.
Right.
They insisted. And after we stopped working together, because I regained my sanity at one point, they insisted and did it and flushed tens of thousands of dollars down the toilet. And that's the world that we live in. That is the world that we live in, that because it's possible, people are insisting on making that work. And that's not how it is. There's a much easier path. Every business should be doing a couple of basic things to build their business. And then when that happens, then there are things you can kind of tack on. A book is always a great idea for anyone that does any type of service or training or that sort of thing. It makes sense, but it shouldn't be your core thing unless you're a great writer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in closing, I guess, the facets you have to consider are not the ones that everyone talks about. When you're looking to do traffic stuff, I should probably give a good traffic tip, right? You have to take things into account that people don't mention. One of them is you or your company. You could have a great writer on staff, and that's just as good as it being you if they have the knowledge of the products and services that you provide. So you and your company, that is a limiter. Your values are a limiter. Your time. If you can throw all the time in the world at it, that changes the path you should take to find and reach your audience. Because if you can do it all day, you should be doing it all day, testing stuff, figuring out what resonates. And when you find that, here's the key, what most people don't follow. Try a bunch of crazy stuff, delete what didn't work, and then keep doing the stuff that worked.
Yeah, trial and error is great, but you have to learn from it for sure.
Yeah, so don't keep banging your face against the wall because that's not fun. But do it a couple of times and see what resonates with your people. See what drives revenue or attention, depending on where you're at in your business. And then do the stuff that worked. That's it. Do it again. Keep doing the stuff that works. That's all.
Yeah. So where would people go to find out more about you?
I don't even have a squeeze page yet. So I would recommend finding me on Facebook because you can follow me there, and that's where I announce whatever I'm selling or doing, or my next book is soon.
Too, mindset stuff and
well, and better. Here's the best part: you can interact with me. You don't just have to comment and I'll love it and go away. If you want to talk to me, that's where you do it. It's amazing to me that the spammers come into my messenger, and I'm like, if I don't know you, this is like peeing on my front lawn. I mean, I'm busy. What do you want? But if you want to get to know me and interact with me and maybe even ask me for help at some point, if we talk before in any capacity, I'm in.
Yep. All right.
Then you can come to my messenger.
Ross Goldberg on Facebook. There must be more than one, but if you are friends with Yusuf and I, we will, or actually you guys might not be friends yet. You'll have to become friends.
We'll have to fix that.
But you'll be able to find Ross.
I'll incorporate the link into this.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
Cool.
Obviously. I forgot we're not just on video. We do have the ability to have descriptions. Of course we will. Sorry about that. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And I know it was a wild day for you, and appreciate that you came and shared, and we're so open to. Yeah. And good to meet you for the second face-to-face for the second time.
Meet the new me. We haven't, we've talked, I think, very briefly in one of your groups, which I don't see anymore. Yes. It's Facebook's fault, not
because
mine.
I stopped using. I'm just doing one because I found that I'm like duplicating myself because the interaction has died on both. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do one.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But this was a ball. I love doing this stuff. As you can tell, I am a storyteller. It is, and oh goodness, I barely got started. So when you guys get hard up and can't find anybody, just invite me back.
We're starting with short podcasts. We'll have you back when we do we could go for hours.
No, and we can, and even better, we can even teach some things and talk about some of the stuff. Because I know that we have things that overlap and could have some really interesting business conversations too. But man, I have stories of debauchery of super gurus. We're talking stuff people don't know.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, I have a few of those too.
Yes. We have been playing the game for too long. We have those stories.
Yeah.
We would like to hear some of those stories. Hopefully we'll get a chance to invite you sometime soon.
I would like that very much.
Yeah, you're a great storyteller. To a point that we started the podcast without even meaning to interviewing you. So I'm going to have to incorporate it later and add it. But it's been a pleasure, Ross.
Yeah. All right.
That happens. Man, if my wife was here, she would have slapped me in the back of the head at least half a dozen times. Thankfully, she's at work. Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure, and I really do mean it. I mean, if you ever need me, let me know. All Alice, right. I think you are absolutely wonderful. I don't know if you're aware, but I gave you $500 for a bunch of your templates. I'm still using and selling those.
Oh.
I bought the ability to do so, of course.
Yes.
They next level, top quality, and I am picky as hell.
Yeah.
Just lovely.
Yay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Right.
Thank you both. This was fun.
Okay. Yeah.
And connect with me, Yusuf, please.
Absolutely. I'll definitely do that.
All right.
Take care, Ross.
Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Alice again. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, we just wanted to invite you to join us as an eKit Hub Insiders member on YouTube. As a listener of our podcast, you probably have already subscribed to the channel, but there is an opportunity to join the membership, which gives you extra member perks. And if you're a regular listener of the podcast, or you think you might be, there's an extra special perk in there for you as well. So when you go under any of our videos, you'll see the link to join, and that will give you the opportunity to join the eKit Hub Insiders Club. It will show in your local currency, but it's an affordable way to support the channel so we can bring more guests and also do all the marketing tutorials and things that we do for you as well on this channel. But when you join, you will get eKit Hub Shop eKits credits, $7 gift code for grabbing some templates to help your business, done for you content, printables, and all that great stuff that you know we have at Shop eKits. You also get 10% off our new eKit Hub group training programs. There is also a monthly members only live stream, which is a class on various topics. We've done a lot of marketing skills, we've done mindset stuff, and we have tons planned, and we do that each and every month with our members. And the other great thing is, as you know, we are creating this my lifestyle self-made workbook for you guys, and it's sort of a living document, and each time we get together, if you join us live, we're giving another piece of that workbook. But if you are a member of the Insiders Club and you can't make it for any episode, you will have those download links put inside of the members area in the community tab, so you'll be able to download whenever you'd like. And everybody else has to attend all the ones live. We still, of course, hope you will join us live, because that's a lot more fun that we can chat and do things together. But anyways, if you are interested, just click join under any of our videos and you'll be able to get into the eKit Hub Insiders Club.
I had a bad experience today. We had an interview that I forgot to record, which is very upsetting. And now we have another one. And I'm already recording far in advance. I'm so bummed out though. I feel so sad.
That's hilarious. I have to ask Lynn if she remembers. I don't remember meeting him ever.
No.
And I don't remember there being a man who did something weird, but I'm going to ask.
But you've also met so many people over the years, so
I would have thought I would have remembered meeting him, but maybe I met him before I knew him online. That's probably possible, right? That I